Hill is your, and of course they have a very respected reputation in terms of the innovation. If you look at a number of their buildings that they've designed, mindful of the Genesis offices across the road, you know, there's some ways in which something can be contemporary but be really good. So obviously, naturally, they'll be taking account the kind of surroundings as well. But I think if we get this right, personally, I think this is a win-win. This will enhance that part of the West Town Belt, and also we are into the central city transformation. I agree with Councillor McPherson that if there's one street that probably we can close without, you know, prejudging that process, this is it. So all of the sort of building blocks are there in my view, and I think obviously anyone from a distance will say, well, New Zealand's fourth largest centre, an hour and a half away from one international airport, half an hour away from another domestic airport, slap bang next to a future underground passenger rail station as we move forward, right next to a major transport terminal, located against a very excellent cricket ground, which has that beautiful country sort of traditional, gets the blend in my view of a good facility, but has that sort of the old sort of English country type approach. You know, it's a lot of good. Why would people not be in favour of that centre as logic? Because all the building blocks are there, and I want to compliment, obviously, with the leadership that I think you're displaying for the cricket community. I think this is excellent. So I'll be supporting this, and I honestly think with the right building blocks, win-win. And I would hope that we would do as much as we can as to get this proposal through the hoops. Thank you, Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, look, heaps of merit in this proposal. I support the motion up there, extra training facilities for the city, and also tidying up an area around just outside of Seddon Park, which could do with some tidying up. Actually, I think we could get a great result there for sure. And all with funds coming from outside the ratepayer, and that's terrific to get, so congratulations for that. And I certainly don't want to sound churlish at all. I'm heartened that you've reassured me on community use. I had a conversation with the General Manager at Hamilton Cricket Association yesterday who didn't seem to be aware of the proposal, but it may have just been a misunderstanding on my part, I don't know. But I accept your assurance on that. That's great, because I do just want to make the point that the grassroots level from Hamilton Cricket, they are falling behind other areas in terms of the quality of the grounds, and I'd like to see us, you know, as a council supporting grassroots cricket, and as well as their plans for a home of cricket at Jansen Park in the future. But I'm pleased to see a clause up there where it's subject to the result of negotiations, because again, without wanting to sound churlish, I'm not terribly happy with our existing lease agreement at Seddon Park, where at the moment, if anything goes wrong, the ratepayers, or anything needs doing, the ratepayers put their hands in their pockets, and we seem to be locked into that. So if there was some way to revisit that, I'd be pleased to see that. After all, it is an elite sports venue, really. But overall, very supportive of the plan, good for Northern Districts cricket, good for cricket, and good for the city, and I wish you luck with it.
Thank you, Councillor Tuman.
Yeah, I'm going to be a little bit different actually, Madam Chair, because I can't support this motion. A great concept, there's no two ways about it, but my concern is, of course, as we've spoken here at the G&I committee about congestion within the city and all this sort of stuff, and here we are wanting to close down a road. Once that road is gone, you're never going to get it back, and that's my real concern. In paragraph 6 there, we say that it's going to improve the connectivity through the West Town Belt. Well, you've got a railway line which interrupts it, and I can't see anybody being allowed to walk through the oval at Seddon Park. So it's really not going to improve that connectivity through that belt itself. So as a result of that, I'll be voting against this particular motion.
Thank you. Mayor Andrew. Mayor Andrew?
Andrew, you're on.
are you going? Mayor Andrew?
Yeah, I'll move a amendment, please, to change the word supports to approves.
Process on that, please.
On B.
I would have to give governance advice that I believe that that's stepping outside the terms of reference of this committee at this point.
Well, it would obviously have to come back to full council.
Yes, so at full council that could occur, but not in this committee, is what you're saying? Because of the
I
terms
mean,
of reference.
any decisions that are
I
made.
think a change other than just the change of a word approval to create your intent, Mayor Andrew, would be needed.
To say the Community Services Committee recommends to council, and then B from supports
Yeah.
to approves.
Is that what you mean?
Yep. I mean, yeah.
So that's going to be an amendment because that won't be, that will be an amendment, won't it?
Could you put the recommend this to council right where the supports is now, rather than up the top?
I'm not amending it, so let's get it up and see. It's with the,
That's the whole thing, a recommendation. If part of it can't be,
But surely we're receiving a report, aren't we? We're receiving a report.
one moment, callers. We'll be there in a second. So we will have two quite similar. Let's just see what they look like. And Mayor Andrew is the mover of the amendment. Do you have a seconder, or were you waiting until we see the words?
Do I have a seconder? Gary?
I just want to see the words.
Yeah, the words come.
So I want to know what I'm seconding.
Fair call. Okay, so I think there are some issues around the drafting here that need a little bit of further consideration. So we will take a,
That's where it should say recommends to council rather than right at the top.
Yeah, go over there and change it then.
You know, that we should be enabled to, we shouldn't be slowed up. It's only a couple of words difference.
no, the governance have some concerns with the process here. I am in their hands if they are not
Well,
Oh, put it up. I'm sure you'll get it right. I want to change the word approves to supports to approves.
I think,
and
Mayor Andrew, if you and
that's all I want to
and
do.
Gary would approach governance and have a look at the
Thanks,
words,
Gary.
please.
Gary, you can sort it out. I think the
Because
issue
I don't
here.
think we
I
should
think the
put
issue here is
governance
we're
on
in
the
a roll in the
spot.
middle of debate, and
Pardon?
I think the issue here is we're in a roll in the middle of debate, and it would have been good to keep it moving.
Yes, but governance
sake
should
of
not
one
be
word
in the
change.
spot of having to draft recommendations that they feel are potentially flawed.
I just want to be clear that I've got your intent, Mayor Andrew, it would be easy.
Yeah, Gary's seconding it. He'll get it right. He's the wordsmith.
Is this a report to council? Because it said it's a delegated decision. It'll have to go to council now, does it? We're reporting this to council. Madam Chair?
Please wait until we get. I think it would be good, Mayor Andrew, if you would have a look at, Gary's having a look, and if we could get this landed, it would be preferable.
I'm comfortable with what Gary's doing.
Okay. Well, unless the mover is helpful with it, I can't go very far. apologies everyone, but sometimes it's important to get these things exactly right, so we just... No, I promise you it'll be... No, there's only the two that had previously left have left. They'd already gone. I'm doing my very best, Dave, but I'm not the mover of the motion, so I can't wordsmith it.
The mover and seconder haven't got to sit there and shit together.
Oops.
Then they can't just jump in and delay the whole meeting.
I think we've had many incidents of amendments upon amendments delaying things. Okay, Council, the mover and seconder have removed their amendment. The issue, just so we have clarity around that, and it wasn't an attempt in any way to be difficult or stand in the way, because as you see, we did afford every opportunity for the wordsmithing to come together. It's around the scope of the terms of reference of this committee and what we can and we can't approve. And Community and Services Committee cannot approve this. Council can approve. So we're back now to, and it will come back to Council, and I know this will be disappointing to the mover and second, it will come back to Council. So we're back now with the motion, and we have had everyone debate it, I believe, who's wanted to. Is there anyone who has not spoken who wanted to debate it? No. Oh, Councillor. Pardon?
I'm on the board.
Thank you. Okay, so Mayor King would like to debate.
So I just think this is another layer of bureaucracy gone wrong. I asked for the word supports to be moved to approves, subject to down the bottom, coming back to council for full approval. You covered off, and that there's no cost to council on B2. You covered off with on B1. You covered off on B2 with the road having had to go through its requirements to be closed. You covered off on 3. With our staff having input into its design, and at the end of the day it was going to come back to full council. So I just struggle here to see why it was not legally robust to change the word supports to agreement, but I have to accept that staff say that that's putting council at jeopardy, so I withdrew my motion. So bureaucracy wins again.
Okay, thank you. I am the mover, right of reply. I'm not going to go into it anymore, but I do think it's very important when governance gives us very firm advice and feels very uncomfortable with a point of process that we should respect their advice, and I do. Therefore, this is where we're at, and I think we can go forward with the understanding that there is a lot of warm support for this project, and that we will work collegially with you to get to the next step. And on that note, we will go to the vote.
The motion is carried, 9 for, 1 against.
Thank you, Council. We are going to break, and Martin and Dave are leaving for a funeral, and we will go till the 1 hour lunch break unless anybody has any objection, because we've had Clarence Street Theatre sitting very patiently in the wings. That would be a good metaphor, wouldn't it? One. So we're up to that item. So Jason, would you like to come and sit with Sean? And Council, we're on page, I forget what, I'm coming there. Pardon? Thank you. Leo, we're on page 42. Clarence Street.
Okay, Chair, look, essentially what this paper is about, it's following on from an earlier approval late last year by Council of $150,000 to go to fund seismic strengthening work at the Clarence Street Theatre. That work is now being completed to our satisfaction, or everyone's satisfaction. However, it came in around $28,000 under budget. The Clarence Street Theatre Trust, however, has more work to do on the building. They have asked if that surplus could be retained or picked up by them to put into other repair works on the building. So I'm in your hands. Jason Wade from Clarence Street Theatre Trust is here once again to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Did you need to say any brief comments?
I guess the request isn't for further money as such. It's actually already been approved by yourselves. The money, the surplus we want to attribute to replacing all of the back of house roofs that have been leaking for years, but we haven't had the money to do that, and it's sort of next on our list. So it would be hugely helpful if that surplus could be attributed to that. I think the other part of the report as well was the deed of gift. In our request, I think it was in September last year, that was approved. The deed of gift revocation period was actually pushed out till later this year, end of this year.
Until 2019 to accommodate the timing for the seismic work, which has been done on time.
Yeah, so we've managed to do that sooner. So basically, we would like the deed of gift to be completed as per the original agreement.
Okay, thank you very much. Look, just to get it on the board, I will be the move, and have I got a seconder at all? Councillor O'Leary, thank you. So that gets that on the board. And are there any questions? The report was well written and spelled it out, and I think the key point about the funding not being additional you have made, Jason, so that's very useful. Any questions at all? Councillor Mallett.
Just a question to Sean. So this is just a process whereby we allocated some money for a project. That project was done under budget, and you're now asking for a reauthorisation of the use of that money, is all we're doing.
Yes, that's right. Look, under the arrangement, if the project didn't require the full 150,000, then
that was
we only
supposed to come
pay
back
what's
to us.
required. So,
Yeah.
and it would come back to us. But under the circumstances, Clarence Street Theatre have asked if they could effectively retain that surplus.
Okay, so it's a situation where that money could go back into the pot as a little saving, which would reduce rates by a few dollars.
Well, yeah, correct. That would just go back into the pot.
Okay, so it's either going to go for the roof, the back of office, that was a roof in it.
Well, it's three parts of the building. It's three roofs. We're actually Hamilton Operatic have leases. We Drury Lane use, and we're basically there's 600 kids through there a week having dance classes, which leaks on them. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Councillor O'Leary.
That was my question, Jason. What's wrong with the roof? Does it leak?
Yes.
Yeah, no, when we took over the building, it's had historic leaks for probably 10 years, which, you know, with due diligence we're aware of, but getting things in line and doing things in process, this is, I guess, the next on our list to do, and having this, using the surplus that was of part of that, the 150, would make a great help in this.
My supplementary question to that was, how did you find out about the leaks being required? But I guess the students are getting wet, so.
Yeah, and it also floods upstairs for the Hamilton Operatic for their costume hire, so they often have, there's flooding up there because of the roof. So it's pretty much at this time of year is the issue, and for the winter really.
Yeah, well, it would be, wouldn't it? Look at the rain we've had, and it's not a new building.
No.
Okay, thank you. Rather than to prolong things, we'll go into debate. I'm happy to be the mover. Look, from basis of what I said, it's not a new building. Well done on being able to very efficiently use the money that you were given. We don't have another major theatre in place at this point in time, so you are serving an even more important function than you usually do. And so I think we do need to have you being able to work in the dry and keep all the costumes dry. So to me, it's a bit of a no-brainer in that respect. Councillor O'Leary.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. Just supporting your comments there, and very happy to support this. It is great work that you did come under budget. We don't often see that, unfortunately, around the table. So, and I'm reasonably comfortable with the decision, given that council remains the owner of the asset in perpetuity. So, hopefully, your students will no longer be dancing in the rain.
Yes, thank you. So we will go to the vote. You look tense. I don't think you need to be.
Well, you never know, around here.
The motion is carried unanimously.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much. Cheers.
And look, Council, I know we thought we'd stop at 1 for lunch, because originally there was meetings planned for that, but since there aren't, and we have sat a while and we've got a really good topic coming up after lunch, and I think it's nice to be fresh, we will take lunch now from, are you happy if we come back at 20 past 1? 20 past 1? It's fairly human. Yeah, it's 40 minutes. So we're adjourned till 20 past 1. Thank you.